Welcome, everyone. This is Piney Mules, and you're listening to LOTRO Players News, where we take a look at the latest news in LOTRO and here at LOTRO Players. And please welcome the ones who are with us this week. Ending!
Hey, everybody.
Terry Adwin,
Hi, hi.
Maven,
Hey, y'all.
and Carvet.
At your service and your families.
And today, our big story is that there was a 6-hour marathon anniversary live stream with the folks at LOTRO.
That's right, Pineleaf. This was actually a really high quality stream, especially compared to where Turbine has, come from as far as building Twitch up and all that stuff. They had some just amazing UI things. They had a really nice interview section and just a lot of really great things that they set up. And they said it took like a day to set up all this technical stuff. And it was well worth it because the stream was really high quality and there were so many developers on, some of which I don't think we've ever seen in video form before. So it was very cool, lots of people on the stream, and also a lot of news.
Yeah, it was really nice.
So to go right into the news, during the stream, Vivian actually confirmed that we are still going to Mordor sometime in the next year. She suggested that it might not be at the end of this year. It depends on how much they're able to develop before the end of the year. So there's a chance it might not be the end of the year, but they will be having Mordor coming very, within the next calendar year. So that's actually pretty exciting. Also, they are going to be actually building another version of Minas Tirith. There will be the sunlit version of Minas Tirith, and it should be going in with new quests, and they actually said it's going to be a quest hub. One interesting thing is they suggested that depending on how they build it, there might not be all the tiers available to go through in this final version of Minas Tirith. At least I assume it's the final version, this next version. So that's kind of interesting that they might be taking out tiers to hopefully improve performance and things like that for players, which makes sense if there's certain tiers where they don't need to have quests or any things like that. So
But there's pubs on all the tiers. You need all the tiers.
you really do. I mean, you want to visit the pubs in daytime, clearly. I mean,
Yes.
you got to get
I
drunk
mean,
during the
they
day,
should
not just
add
at night.
stuff to daytime Minas Tirith, not pull stuff out.
Yeah.
Because we need interiors now for the pubs that we haven't been able to go into yet.
Well, maybe they'll have
Wow.
different pubs.
You do know that some of those pubs might have been destroyed.
No way.
Well,
Save the beer.
the outdoor ones can just be moved to a different outdoor location. Works for me.
Yeah, they have a whole field that they can be drinking in. So anyway, to move that awkward moment along, Vivian also talked about the license renewal that's going to take place in 2017, seeing if it will take place or not. She commented saying, "It's not something we can actually talk about. It's not within our purview. I wouldn't even worry about that. I don't worry about it." So it sounds like that at least on the Warner Brothers side of things, as far as the Turbine team is concerned, they're going to keep making LOTRO beyond 2017. And I think that makes complete sense because a lot of people think that Turbine needs to get rights from the Tolkien estate, but that's not true. They just need to get it from Tolkien Enterprises, which is very close-knit with Warner Brothers anyway. They have, really good ties. And so since Turbine is part of Warner Brothers, it's actually way less likely that it will end as long as LOTRO is still making money, which based on Vivian's comments, it seems like she thinks it is. So
As long as they're able to afford the license fees.
that's right. I wonder how the license fees work though with them being part of Warner Brothers, how much they're actually having to pay for a sub part of their company.
Well, yeah, there is that.
So, I can't think that licensing fees would be an immense amount of money when they're part of Warner Brothers. I'm guessing that the Warner Brothers legal team tries to get that down as much as possible since they have so many IPs that they run with. Also, when talking possible instance types with Mordor, Vivian said, "I don't know that we'll really jump into another big battle." So she mentioned all these different instance types, and then she said, probably not a big battle. So that's good that Vivian knows that the player base doesn't like big battles, and so they're hopefully not going to be doing that. Thank goodness. Also, she mentioned that she would expect to check in on Frodo and Sam in the next year. Which makes sense. We're going to Mordor. It makes sense that we'd have some type of instance play, session play
Session
or some
play.
type of
Has to be a
thing.
session play. We certainly
Mhm.
can't go and visit
Session
them.
play.
Oh,
Hey,
come
hello,
on.
Frodo.
If we
How
can
was
This
the trip through
support
this would
all
be
the
the
way
one
to the
time.
well, I mean, if we can come up with a story arc that instaports us all the way to the Dead Marshes, I mean, would it be that much of a stretch to end up somewhere in like the shores of Nirn or something?
This would actually be like the one time where it makes sense to have a session play as a bad guy. Like not unlike the one with the Angmar, which is the first session play that you're ever introduced to in the game way back in Volume 1. You could be like an orc captor in
Oh,
Cirith
that would
Ungol.
be cool.
Would
Like,
that not be
Oh
awesome?
yeah,
or like, be one of those two orcs that are trying to sniff out
yeah.
Sam and Frodo when they're sneaking through the orc city.
I
It's
mean,
like the
we
skinny
could
one
look
and the
into a
fat one.
Palantir or something and see it, or I don't know. There could be some setup to where
Oh, that would be
we
a
get to
nice trick.
we get to see it. Yeah.
You could totally do a
Or we get
Palantir induced
telepathic
vision.
communication from Galadriel that she's looked in the mirror and
No,
tells
I like
us.
the Palantir induced vision idea better. That's
Well, yeah,
fun.
because we can totally raid Denethor's quarters after he's gone.
Well, and my hunter's got a Palantir in her pocket, so no problem.
There you go. Mordor call waiting.
Yeah.
Oh, it's that Sauron guy again.
Also talked about on the stream was that there, as part of the brighter version of Minas Tirith, there's also going to be the raid that will be coming, and it will actually contain at least 5 bosses.
That's awesome.
Wow.
That's a sizable raid.
Yeah, yeah. When I believe it was Vivian was talking about it, it might have been a different dev though, I don't remember. But one of the Turbine devs was talking about how they might have gotten a little bit too ambitious, and they were surprised
What else
at.
is new?
They were surprised. This particular dev was not part of the raid team, but they were just surprised that the team that they had was even capable of creating the raid that they actually saw. How amazing it was, and so that sounds really exciting. It should be a really good raid, I hope. We need a good raid. It's been
Well,
so long since we've had one. If we're
I
adding one in,
think
it needs to be really good.
if I remember correctly, I heard something about they're gonna do some more imbuements, and then they also mentioned, yeah, you'll need it for the raid. They were like gonna up the levels of imbuements, and then they mentioned that the raid was gonna be like something that you needed that upgrade for. So I think there's definitely gonna be a hike in difficulty, which I think is what a lot of the player base wants.
Yeah. They also said that they are not planning any more bingo boffin type quests for other races like dwarves or elves. So that is not currently in the plans for them, which makes sense. Bingo Boffin was kind of a side project when they had time, and I'm guessing that the amount of time it's taken has probably caused Maid of Lions to maybe be a bit behind now and having to get back ahead on top of things. That's just speculation on my
Yeah.
end, but it's possible.
Well, I was
Well,
under the
that's
impression
good.
that the bingo storyline was completed before it ever started. Like, Maid of
That would
Lions
Yeah,
already
me
surprise me.
too.
knew the
That's what
direction
I
that it was
thought
going.
too.
Well, I mean, we don't really need another group
But
traveling across
Well,
Middle
there's a
Earth.
big
I
difference
mean,
between writing the story and fleshing
building
out all
out.
the details and getting it made and built.
Because Maid of Lions actually said that he has started actually taking part in the building process and learning how the world builder tools work and things like that to help make the Bingo Boffin quests himself. He's had help from other developers too that have helped along with it, but it's just
That's
kind of
cool.
interesting how he's been taking on a bit more with the bingo stuff and learning other parts of the development process.
Way to go, Maid of Lions.
Well, they had said shortly after bingo was even introduced that even if they did episodic content in the future, it would not be a bingo type quest.
Right.
So, I mean,
That's
that's not necessarily news, because I've
right.
heard similar stuff before.
It's good though because Bingo has his place, and Bingo kind of is like
Can't really do anything
it.
bingo like with the other
Well, I
races
mean,
anyway, because
yeah, I mean,
hobbies.
Bingo has got kind of like an epic light feel to him, so I can understand that. But at the same time, you really don't like you said, you really don't need to have another race doing that kind of stuff because the other races are leaving and traveling and doing stuff anyway. Unless they somehow come up with this like Corsair Pirate Raider quest line or something. And of course, the whole time you're going around going, "Arg, matey."
Episodic content for creeps.
That could be interesting.
Oh, good grief.
Oh, come on, that would be fun.
It could be. I could see that. That would be
You're
fun.
you're talking. You're trying to
You have to get
convince
people
me.
to. And finally,
No,
it's
I'm
like,
not.
ah, no.
I didn't mean that when I said that. I was just giving my own opinion.
There he was, the young warg pup, fresh out of the den. What's this? It's a free braid. Oh, his family's all slaughtered. He vowed revenge.
So on another source, I actually saw that 7 bosses might be in the raid. So apparently, it's just an immense amount of bosses either way. But it'll be interesting to see what they have done with this raid and just how long it takes to complete.
Yeah, they were also
Also,
talking about changing up the lock system for the raid too. So instead of having the traditional locks, it was going to be some kind of hybrid, which I
yeah,
thought was interesting.
that is true. They also mentioned that they are going to be. They had a large section that it looked like almost put Frelorn to sleep. That was about going into depth about the loot tables and how all the coding for that stuff works, and how they're actually going to be redoing some of the loot tables for the new raids and things like that. So, because apparently they think that the current loot system is not something that they like. So the new raid will bring in some type of new loot system that's probably just going to be on the back end and we probably won't notice, but in theory it should mean better rewards for players. So
Makes sense.
also mentioned was that the burglar is going to be revamped soonish. So they're working on seeing if they can make improvements to the
And the
burglar
Guardian.
and the Guardian as well. When they were talking about the burglar bow issue, though, and how they put it in and took it back out, Vivian was talking about how they were getting feedback from players, and she actually gave a hint as to how many players are in LOTRO, maybe without even meaning to. She said, when you have a game with hundreds of thousands of players, so that suggests that there's still plenty of people playing LOTRO, which is good news. She might have just mentioned that off the cuff, and that might not be, even an accurate statement, but still, it is interesting that she said hundreds of thousands of players. That's pretty
Have you
encouraging, I think.
been on Landreval Brie lately? I'd believe it.
Oh, just hanging out on even like smaller servers like Crick and Gladden. I mean, there's a lot of folk up in here.
Yeah.
A
Yeah.
lot of new players.
So that's really exciting that there's still hundreds of thousands of players playing LOTRO. The final thing, which is just kind of confirmation of things that something we might have thought of before, was that the EU data center move has been officially canceled. They said something. Basically, there was a issue with like scheduling the space, and it caused a lapse in the time that they had to make the offer or something, and that made it to where they could only have the one data center. Because I guess the old data center ended too quickly before they would have been able to get the new data center in the EU set up. And so they decided to just move everything to the new data center, and once they saw that they could make improvements, just leave everything at one data center, which makes sense from a financial point of view as well as a timing thing as well. And that's pretty much everything that was news-wise from the stream. I still recommend at least, checking out different parts of the stream and listening to it. I actually have not watched the whole thing because it's so long, But particularly the Vivian interview and a few other parts were really interesting where they had different developers that we hadn't seen before and things like that. And so it's kind of nice to put faces to people that you haven't seen before.
And then let's head into the Circle of Lotro.
Yes, Pineleaf. On the forums, Turbine actually revealed the Circle of Light, Lotro,
It's
where
the circle of Lotro, where the devs move on. They're gonna move the data center, move the data. Okay, I'm done. I'll stop.
That's awesome, Carve. Uh, so this was actually an interesting thing that basically shows how their update cycle works. One thing that's interesting is the dev just kind of subconsciously made it be counterclockwise in how this cycle works, which I think is very fitting for game development because you're having to go upstream the whole way because it's just so difficult. And so I thought that it was just kind of funny how he did that subconsciously. Um, a quote that I want to read out is that they said, "I hoped this would explain the cylindrical, cyclical nature of our development process, and in fact, of most of game development, actually. Why
It
we
looked
know
like a
things." Yes, Pineleaf?
it looked like something typical for software development in general.
Yeah, definitely. Why we know things when we know them, solicit feedback when we do, etc. Anyway, I hope this doodle is interesting and informative. So I thought it was mostly things that we already knew. One thing that did surprise me was that Palantir was so late on this process. I thought Palantir was actually a little bit sooner, but it makes sense. And obviously this is fairly arbitrary. They do give things to
A
like
bit
the players'
abstract, yeah.
council and things like that ahead of time, so it makes sense. But it's interesting. I thought it was funny how part of this diagram is when they're allowed to talk to players based on the amount of free time that they have. And so that's kind of interesting. So, it's something you might want to check out. I'm not going to describe everything on it, but it's a pretty cool little diagram that they made, and was just something interesting that I thought was worth sharing.
Then let's head into store sales. And is there anything fun and exciting on sale this week?
Well, if you
Why,
want to go
yes, finally.
down, if you want to go down with bears, then no. But if you're fine with bears, then we'll get to that in a bit. But the free sample of the week this week, April 29th through May 5th, is the Sturdy Steel Key. Use coupon code in the show notes.
That's because you
And
didn't want to say.
well, I knew that Pineleaf didn't want me to, so I just kind of skipped over that. But
Oh,
thank you, Carve.
nice.
And that's one per account, by the way, on that code. Also, 25% off the Bjorning Class A, if you want to spell it like it is currently in the forums, or the Bjorning class. The Runekeeper class and the Warden class, so the 3 extra classes are all 25% off. Also, character slots and Slayer Deed accelerators. So it seems like this is a fairly good sale if you're wanting some of the new classes or character slots. Otherwise, it's all right. It is nice to have a free Sturdy Steel Key, though. That's a nice little chance, since those don't drop anywhere near as much as the loot boxes. But yeah, that's what's on sale, Penleaf.
Then let's head into the site news, and we'll begin with the community events for April 29th through May 5th. And anyone have anything in here that they find interesting? So it looks like the top announcement is in German.
Yeah. I recommend just checking it out. There's so many great events that I'm just going to refer people to the article this week because I highly recommend checking out for your server. And if you want to just see what's on your server, you can actually do Control F and type in your server name, and you'll be able to just hit enter and cycle through the different events that are on your server that way. So, pro tip there to find events that are on your particular server.
Oh, and it looks like while we were having a ball doing our stream today, there was a ball going on at on one of the servers.
I don't know what stream you were on, Pineleaf, but yes, there was a ball that was going on, and it was, I'm assuming a lot of fun. It looks like fun from the description. They say celebrate the coming of spring with an elegant masquerade ball with Elizabethan courtly style music performed by students of the Academy of Music. Come dressed in your finest as you gather with your friends, family, for a night of splendor and enchantment. Dancers will also have the chance to be crowned king or queen of the spring ball. So we missed the opportunity to be king or queen, Pineleaf.
Oh well.
But yeah, that was the courtly Ara's spring formal masquerade ball.
And Song Fu Saturdays with the Ninny Hammers. Any color you like.
I think you have to talk about it, don't you, Pine Leaf?
Yeah. Yes, and that's well, the Ninny Hammers went on to an excursion last Thursday, which fortunately was being held at a time convenient for Laurelin rather than a time convenient for people in the US. So it was mainly something for the people in the Euro servers that's being led by Lily Kate, who I'm sure also found the EU time being also very friendly to her since she lives in Italy. And it was performance then that was being done there at the Laurelin server where they were playing the Any Color You Like. And there is, of course, a sound clip of that along with some pictures from the event.
Awesome. I do want to mention a few comments that are talking about the anniversary stream. First of all, it's awesome that LOTRO's been around for 9 years. I know we kind of celebrated last week, but it's super awesome that that's the case. Taylorion in the comments pointed out that Maid of Lions, speaking of the session play that did not make it into the Mines of Moria, was really fun. Yes, it was. It's the most excited you will ever hear Maid of Lions, I think. He was describing about this epic, epic event that involved this huge session play involving the Balrog actually having the bridge broken in the actual session play, and like this huge over the top scale of a session play that we've never seen anything like even since. And it sounded absolutely amazing, but because of just the technical limitations and the time limitations, they couldn't actually implement it. So I recommend watching that part of the stream as well. I don't know when it is, but it was really good. And then there was another comment, if I can find it again, maybe. Where was it? I'm slowing down the show right now, but sorry about that. All right, come on.
So while you're looking, there was a session play that was on the drawing board to have Gandalf battle it out with the Balrog.
Yeah.
That's so
See,
cool.
why couldn't we have had that session play instead of that Angmarim session play?
Right? Yeah, that would have been awesome. And then the other thing I was looking for was that Mookie points out in the chat that I wish they would decide if this comment is not exactly written the best, but I will be reading through it, maybe, possibly. Basically, they're saying that they wish that they decide if they're going to call them epic or big battles. And yeah, Vivian did say that they are big battles, and I went ahead and read her quote that way because that's what she said. And obviously, that's been a huge issue in the community for some people, and myself actually included. But it seems that they're still not decided on if they're epic or big. But I don't really care as long as they don't make any more. Just keep them away and don't make any more, and we're good. So anyway, Pineleaf, that was just a little chat room update.
All right, let's then head into our poll on the question, which class most needs a revamp?
Yes, Pineleaf, this is our most voted on poll that we have ever had with 725 votes. Absolutely amazing that so many people voted this week. And the top answer on which class most needs revamp was the burglar with 39%, 283 votes. That is a lot of people. That's almost 40% of the people who voted in this poll.
Yes, and that is more than twice at the amount for any other class.
Yeah, a huge, huge amount. And next up is Hunter with 19%, which is more than twice of all the other remaining answers. So
Okay. Why
lots
does
of
the
people
hunter
thinking,
need one?
I don't know. I don't know. I maybe they think it's a little too squishy or something. I'm not sure.
I know because I find the hunter a lot easier to play than many other classes.
Let us
That's
know.
probably why.
Because finally finds it easy, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, let us know in the comments or send us an email letting us know why you thought that the Hunter needs a revamp, because I don't know. Next up was the Lore Master with 7%, 52 votes, followed by the Captain with 7%, 49 votes. Next up, the Guardian with 6%, 46 votes, the Bjorning with 6%, 44 votes. Then the Champion with 5%, 34 votes. The Runekeeper with 4%, 28 votes. The Minstrel with 4%, 27 votes. And the Warden with 3%, 25 votes. I was surprised that the Bjorning was, in the middle of the pack. I did see in the comments, though, that some people did mention that they put the Bjorning in because it actually needs to be weakened as part of its revamp, which I thought was interesting. So, that might be why the Hunter was picked too. Maybe some people thought it should be a little bit weaker. I don't know.
Actually, a lot of, because I read through the comments today when I was putting it in show notes, a lot of the comments mentioned that one of the reasons why the hunter made the list is because um, it's less about the hunter and more about the fact that a lot of the game has been moved away from the crowd control, which is what makes the burglar and the hunter and the lore master so good at what they do. And I would agree with that actually. So it's less about which classes need a revamp and which elements of the game
Yeah.
could stand a revamp.
That's a good point.
Because if you think about it, the bad guys can control us like the enemy NPCs do plenty of crowd control that we can't bust out of. And
Yeah,
yet they're immune to a lot of player crowd control, which is really unfair.
it
Well,
is, and frustrating.
well, yes, but in solo runs, the the crowd control of the burglar and the hunter is, I think, good for solo content. And when I'm soloing, I really don't think I could work in any other line for those two classes.
But it should be a viable playstyle for raids too, and it's not.
Yeah, perhaps, yes, that is, but I mean, yes, having crowd control, that means revamping crowd control, not revamping the
That's what I
classes.
said. It's more an
Yeah,
element of the game than the classes in particular.
yeah,
Yeah, and I
so,
think that the one of the
But
big
that's
issues with the burglar is definitely mechanics of the game, not so much the class. Although I think the burglar also needs revamps as a class as well.
yeah.
Uh,
yeah, there's many other things with the burglar that have.
yeah,
Yeah, see, Cable Knit Dragon brings up a good point. The game shouldn't just be about DPS, and it shouldn't be just about DPS. It should be about tactics,
and Lotro
and
used to
it's
not just be
kind of
about
really not.
DPS, but it seems like when they made the switch over to the trait trees, that for some classes it's become much more about DPS.
Yeah, well, one of the problems is that, let's just say, face it, the personnel that they've had in the last couple of years has been less than ideal.
Well, they did say that in the anniversary stream that they currently do not have any developer that's dedicated to the classes right now.
Right, that's right. So therefore, because of that, right, that's probably one of the reasons why it's been about DPS and the like, is
Hmm.
because
That's just
of
easier to
the
code.
because yes, because it's easier and that's what they've got time to do.
Yep. But yeah, I
But
think that one of the things that they need to do, if not in 2016 and 2017, is really focus on making some classes be a lot more fun and more viable and feel more unique because I feel like that some of them just don't feel as unique as they used to.
let's then head into Lotro Academy, episode 124, Crafting, Part 1.
Of
And
37 different parts, each episode will actually be named the Superior, Superior, Superior Crafting episode, and it'll just keep getting higher and higher.
all right, Maven, I think you had something to do with this.
Oh, just a little bit. I talked when Brannick didn't, so you know. Actually, I think it was a great. I gotta I mean, even though took part and I was a guest and it was great to be there, I really think we covered some great stuff for anybody starting out or even that needs a revamp, to remember crafting. We really covered a lot of really good stuff. So I highly recommend this episode.
Awesome.
So it was a well-crafted episode?
Oh,
You just put that one together, didn't you? Pine Leaf.
he was waiting for it. He had it ready.
He's like sewing the sections of the show together with like artisan glee.
Yeah, that's what Penleaf does every week. He's just sewing things together. Yeah, definitely.
Yeah. Okay.
Right.
Well, but lest we hammer the point further, let's move on.
Yeah, we better move on.
Let's head into Small Lotro Adventures with Lizzie, episode 51. What happened to Lily?
I don't know. Watch the episode.
Hopefully not the same thing that happened to.
Well, actually, it's hard to tell because Lizzie had such a soft voice that I couldn't hear a thing in the episode.
Mm. Well, hopefully they'll get that fixed. They've had some sound problems on and off on this series, but it's awesome every week still to go through.
Yeah, apparently Lily was down with the flu a little bit, so she couldn't
okay.
record, so Lizzie had to do it herself.
Pineleaf, Lilicate's not in the chat. Did you just know that? So you asked the question and knew the
Pine Leaf's
answer?
not in the chat.
Exactly. So Pineleaf knew the answer, but still asked the question. That is okay, Pineleaf.
Ever heard of a rhetorical question?
Yes, but I didn't realize that works on podcasts. But apparently, apparently it does.
Let's go to Family Line, part 89. The Great Warrior of Great Renown. Oh, just a warrior of great renown. Yoda?
Ask the question, you must. The great warrior of great renown, renowned for his greatness of warriordom. Sounds like a Kung Fu Panda intro.
It kind of does. Honestly.
There's no charge for awesomeness or attractiveness. I would speculate, though. Sorry, go ahead.
And the Critter's Journey continues with part 21, Crafting Struggles. I guess that went with the Lotro Academy episode.
Well, I mean, when you think about it, a chicken making anything other than scratches on the ground would probably be difficult at best. I can imagine a chicken like wielding a hammer at a forge or a needle or doing much of anything. Maybe some very light cooking, but I think a chicken would probably stay away from that for obvious reasons.
Yeah, I have a feeling chickens will stay away from cooking as much as possible.
Farming. A chicken could farm. You've got planting and fertilization right there.
That's actually true. So.
And we have the latest installment of Piney's Pictorial Primer to Skirmishing Strike Against Danninglor.
Which came in under the wire because was not there this morning when I did show notes.
Yeah, it came in rather late. So, latest skirmish guide to bring the Strike Against Danninglor guide up to update 18. So this is the first guide to be published after update 18.
That really did come in late because how did you get that out before? Because I streamed with you. When did you write this, Pineleaf?
Well, he probably had it.
Because I released my article like right before we started streaming, and this one was released after that. How did you get it out, Pineleaf?
Did you really think he had monitor troubles that
day? We'll get to that later, but apparently not. Apparently he was writing the article instead.
Let's head into our week in Lotro. Carved, what were you up to?
I was exploring. Finally got to do some leveling with Mrs. Carve on our Captain Hunter duo. We're exploring Volume 3, and we got to that ruin in Eregion where you get the opportunity to be the Thorough and explore from top to bottom. After
Okay.
we got about halfway through, I look over at Mrs. Carve and I say, "Hey, we've got everything we need for the quest. Let's get out of here." And she's like, "Well, don't we have to explore the whole thing?" And I'm like, "You want to explore the whole thing?" And she's like, "Yes." And so I'm like, "Great, let me get the map." After a quick Google and a couple web pages and a half an hour, she's like, "Okay, I think I'm done." I'm like, "We'll come back to it." So we just logged out in some back room somewhere. I think we still have 2 points to find. But yeah, if you've ever been in there, that place is huge. There's probably what, somewhere in the neighborhood of 23 points you have to find, and I mean it's a good hour and a half wandering around in
It's
there.
21 or 27. I don't remember. I've gotten that
23.
title on like 4 different characters.
I've only done
Uh,
it once, and there's.
I did it once and I didn't have an intention to do it again, but she wanted to do it again. So I was like, okay, let me get the map. We're at 21 of 23, I think is what it is. But if you've ever been in there, it's basically a multi-level manor that's got staircases that go into
It's
unique
2
places and
different ruins.
yeah, it's like two different ruins on top of each other, and you have to be able to use the staircases to get between the two different floors. And some floors are only reachable by a certain staircase from underneath. And oh, it's a great maze. I'll say that it's a maze. So Maven, how was your week?
Oh, I had the most fun stream bombing Carve and Arether with Teri. That was so much fun. We decided we needed to stream bomb them during Era's Guardian Diaries on Monday night, which you guys were really hilarious. It was really fun to watch. And so we went and turned ourselves into chickens, and Zinger almost trampled us as we ran through Bree. And we hung out in Staddle and waited and watched the stream. And then when they were on their way in, we waylaid them. And I watched it again the next day and was just crying. I was laughing so hard. It was really cute because they stayed in character, and at one point I walked under Carve's bear, and they're like, "Ooh, get the chicken out from under the bear! Ooh, oh, that's just terrible."
It's not going to end well. What if he sits down?
That's right.
I
This
think
isn't
I
gonna
started.
end well.
I think I started talking about how he had burritos for lunch or something.
Yes.
Not
Or
gonna end
you'd
well.
been eating spiders or something like that.
I'll say he's
Anyway,
been eating spider legs. You know they disagree with him.
it was really fun. And then when we decided to go, we went back over to him and disappeared right in front of him. So it was really cute.
They're just like, did you see that? That chicken disappeared.
It was really fun. So that was definitely, if we had 3 highlights tonight, that would be the highlight. Anyway, so how about Andang? What's Andang's highlight?
Yes, well, Anding's highlight this week is the craziness what that was our stream this week. So, first of all, as many of you can remember, I actually had gotten ahead of Pineleaf last week, and level-wise was doing better. Before we even start the stream, Pineleaf is already higher than I am as far as like the amount of work he's done going into this. So Pineleaf's already ahead level-wise. And so then we go through a bunch of quests. All of a sudden, Pineleaf's monitor dies, and Pineleaf's down to just one monitor, which apparently that means that he only works at like 50% capacity. We've found out, at least with Pinepedia. It just doesn't work as well with only one monitor. And so anyway, Pineleaf had to work on switching his LOTRO version from one monitor to another, which took like 10 minutes. So I did like all these different quests, went way ahead, and somehow Pineleaf caught up. And then by the end of the stream, I was actually doing something, and Pineleaf had gotten ahead of me, and it was like an Emperor's New Groove moment where all of a sudden Pineleaf was already at the place that I was going to and had the appropriate quest to be doing. So somehow he, without being in the same path as me, went through all the places I had gone and been able to get his quest, and I still have no idea how he was able to do it. But yeah, Pineleaf got ahead of me, and it was really funny to watch all that. So anyway, Terry Adwin, what'd you do this week?
Well, this week marked the passing of an era because I sorted through all of the extraneous Teri Adwins that were still hanging out on the closed servers and shifted them all and then deleted them. So I'm down to 10 Terrys now, which actually
Dun dun
accomplishes one of, I know.
dun dun dun
It actually
dun.
accomplishes one of my LOTRO goals for the year. But in the process, I discovered an extra Hobbit mini that was hanging out somewhere, so I have a fourth character now on Crick Hollow, which is funny because I had just been telling Carve last weekend, I think it was, that I only had 3 characters, and now I'm up to 4.
So are you down to 1 Teri a day yet?
No.
Or are you so you're still playing more than, multiple packs of Teri a day?
Well, because I log in on Landraball to get the Hobbit present, and then I log in on Gladden to probably play through Teri because I'm working on that Teri currently.
So
And
she
you
has
know,
to kick the Terry Adwin habit.
She
yeah.
has like pine leaf itis to like a degree greater than pine leaf does, I'm pretty sure. Like
No, because Pineleaf still has more alts than I do, and I don't have a naming
Really?
scheme. So yeah, and I don't have a naming scheme. So if I am not playing Terry Adwin, nobody knows who I am.
That's true.
Usually. I mean, I still have some incognito alts out there.
I still get
I didn't
messages
get to
from
say this during
Teri.
the store sales because I was not connected during store sales because my internet hates me. I bought an extra character slot this week, so I'm up to 17 characters per server, potentially. But the only server where all of my slots are full, except for the one that I just bought, is Landraball.
And I still get messages from Teri every now and then from new alts that I don't even know. And it's like, we've been playing for how long, and this character is this high level, and I did not know about them. But it still happens, so I can confirm that you have an obnoxious number of alts that nobody knows about.
So, Pineleaf, what have you been up to?
Right, my Crick Hollow Warden reached level 105, and I spent
Wow.
much of the week there questing in the Beacon Hills.
Are you the
Ooh,
first person on the show to get to 105? Has anybody else done that yet?
I'm sure somebody else must have done
I
it
mean,
by
on the
now.
show.
No, I'm only 104 at this point.
Yeah, I'm
Wow.
103.
Congrats, Fineleaf. Good job.
Well, we don't know about.
We don't, but I'm pretty sure that you still beat Arthur considering how busy he is.
Yes, all right. Yeah, so I reached 105 and I've been questing in the Beacon Hills. Okay, I won't say too much until the review, but that's an annoying zone. It's as annoying a zone as I've ever seen.
I'm
That's,
not surprised by that based on the geography.
yeah. So therefore, we'll go more into that when we have the review
Yep.
show in a few weeks. But yeah, but I've reached level 105, and I've managed to complete the quest deed. I have not done all of the quests in the Beacon Hills. Like there's one really annoying one that I'm probably just going to ignore, but I have done enough of them in order to complete the deed.
So you actually reach level cap just on the quests that are available?
Let's see, I've done the quests that are available. I've done the epic. I know I've done some skirms also.
Okay.
Yeah,
That
I was
doesn't
gonna say
surprise me. Yeah.
I would bet
Skirmishes.
real money that he's been skirmishing too.
Yeah.
Yes, I mean you've got to do that. And speaking of skirmishes, and after reaching that, I've also run a few skirmishes at 105 afterwards, of course, including waiting to see was I able to was I still capable of soloing the full fellowship version of breaching the necromancer's gate because I don't have the best gear, and since my gear is not as good relatively as it was at 100. And I squeezed by it, though I did skip one of the counterattacks and snuck by it because I did not want to go through another venomous blood arrow. Those things are just a pain.
Pineleaf did not skirmish responsibly, you guys.
No, bypassing a venomous blood arrow and breaching the necromancer's gate is responsible. Those blood arrows are a nuisance, especially when you consider the main reason I was doing it was so that I could get some of the fellowship level lieutenants, and the venomous blood arrow is a solo level lieutenant, so therefore I didn't need venomous blood arrows anyway. You get plenty of those in solo runs.
Even when Pine Leaf skirmishes irresponsibly, he makes it sound responsible.
Yes.
Right?
So let's head into our news beyond Lotro. Middle Earth video headlights. The piano guys. Those are very
Headlights?
They're headlights, because it's a bright show. It's a bright spot on your day.
yes. And the piano guys. That means people who are very very quiet.
No,
That's
Pineleaf.
pianissimo.
It's not Pianissimo. This is a group that does all sorts of different kinds of pop culture songs and things like that, and they go to really amazing locations and film them. They've filmed everywhere from like the Great Wall of China to just all over the world. And they finally, a couple of years back, did The Lord of the Rings and The Hobbit as one single cover song of just going through all the different tracks and combining them together in a really interesting way. And it's just an amazing, amazing video. They have, all sorts of different environments that go through and match with the songs. And apparently everything in this video was filmed within a 20-mile radius in Nevada. And so there's volcanoes, there's all sorts of stuff in this video. It's just absolutely amazing and highly recommend it. They just did a really good job and made awesome music.
We currently have 25 supporters on Patreon, and if you'd like to join this illustrious raid of players and support Lotro players, simply go to the donations page where you can support the Players Alliance on Patreon. There you'll find rewards, including a mention on the podcast of your choice, or even be a guest with us here at Lotro Players News. And this week we did not receive any reviews from iTunes, but we do have a featured comment from Bragg, who left a comment on Lotro Players News, episode 147. And Teri,
FYI. Oh, Terry? No, okay. I guess Terry can do it.
Terry just dropped off though, so
I'll do
okay.
it. Ah, all right.
Okay.
Get to it anyway. Carv's exciting.
Carv's,
Okay,
yes.
FYI, there is a literary reference for the fountains in Edoras, although you can still argue that Turbine might have interpreted it to be a bit more grand than Tolkien described. As follows, quoting from the Professor. The travelers entered, walking in file behind their guide. They found a broad path paved with hewn stones, now winding upward, now climbing in short flights of well-laid steps. Many houses built of wood and many dark doors they passed. Beside the way, in a stone channel, a stream of clear water flowed, sparkling and chattering. At length they came to the crown of the hill. There stood a high platform above a green terrace, at the foot of which a bright spring gushed from a stone carved in the likeness of a horse's head. Beneath was a wide basin from which the water spilled and fed the falling stream. Up the green terrace went a stair of stone, high and broad, and on either side of the topmost step there were stone-hewed seats.
Yeah, I'd say they took some license with that.
they still took some creative license there, yeah.
A horse's head statue versus a mammoth structure of horses and stallions.
It's like a horse explosion, yeah.
Yeah, horse explosion.
Horse-ageddon.
And we have an email from Brozo the Beard, who writes, hypothetical situation. If Lotro shut down tomorrow and you had to decide on a new MMO to migrate to, what MMO would you choose? And then he has hashtag 10 more years of Lotro, hashtag maybe more, hashtag I don't know, and hashtag would be cool.
Oh, hypothetically speaking, I would probably have to see where some of my good friends that I've made playing Lotro are going and solicit their opinions. Because I don't know.
Well, Carve, you can just come with me and we can play Elder Scrolls Online with Brannick and Pineleaf and a bunch of other people, and it'll be fine. It'll be a lot of fun.
I'd give that a shot if I had friends that were in it already. I might give SWTOR another try.
Yeah.
Another try.
Also, Guild Wars 2 I have purchased but have not played because I've spent so much time covering LOTRO instead. So I haven't had time to get into Guild Wars 2, really get into it. But I enjoyed the little bit that I played, so that would probably be something else I would go into as well.
Yes, I've been playing both DDO and Elder Scrolls Online recently, so therefore those two I guess will continue instead of adding another one.
All right.
Well, I've been playing Star Trek Online, but I'm not sure. I think I still would want another fantasy MMO, so I'd probably do like Carve and just sort of go. I'll go where Terry goes.
So Terry, where will you go?
Okay.
That's a difficult question because I don't know that. I mean, I've played ESO and I play it weekly, but I don't know that I could make that my MMO of choice because
No, not with your computer.
yeah. Um,
Finally, if you're not with your
maybe maybe Guild Wars 2 or SWOTOR. But I don't know. Honestly, if LOTRO shut down, I don't think I would pick up a new MMO. I think I would just be really despondent and go back to writing fanfic or something.
Honestly, I
See,
would
see,
probably, because for a long time I've been wanting to just start playing a bunch of other games that I have on my Steam library, and I would probably just start doing that, to be honest, instead of playing another MMO.
see, that's my thought. I mean, Terry probably hit the real answer on the head. It wouldn't be so much that I'd switch to another game. I'd just sit around staring at a blank monitor, all depressed and
Going, where
hopeless.
did all my friends go?
Just closing, we just start playing more Tales of the Free Folk. That's really what would go on. Just pretending
That's
to
what I was
play in
going to say.
LOTRO.
We'd switch over to tabletop. Yeah, right.
Wow.
Right.
We just had to find some other game to stream and make fun of while we played.
We just extend, the length of Tales of the Free Folk every week, and it'd just be the whole night.
That's probably closer
That'd be
to what would
interesting.
happen. Yeah.
You could contact us by emailing us at podcast@lotraplayers.com. You could also follow us at Twitter, the Players Alliance at Players Ally, Lotro Players at Lotro Players, Anding at PVMP_Anding, Aerithert at Aerithert, Carvet at Carvet LP, Maven at Tolkien Maven, Pineleaf at Pineleaf News, and Terry Adwin at Terry Adwin. The Players Alliance has 4 live shows every Monday at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time. We have DDO Players News. On the last Friday of every month at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Academy After School. Saturdays at 8:30 p.m. U.S. Eastern Time, we have LOTRO Players News. And every other Saturday after LOTRO Players News, we have Tales of the Free Folk. You can join us for our live shows at lotraplayers.com/live. Thank you everyone for listening. This is Piney News reminding you to skirmish responsibly.